I really want to talk to you guys about subscriptions first. You know, people are irritated and upset because of the cost of these subscriptions. So I want to walk you through a few ways that you can save money. So here's the bottom line. There are ways for you to save on tracking, and if you don't want to use MapShare and you just want to be able to track back and you don't care if anybody else sees your location, you can leave tracking off, never track, and the Mini 2 sets down hidden tracks. So you can then track back if you find yourself lost or have some other emergency. You can track back to your starting point and not be charged for tracking. That's my first tip. The second tip is on the subscriptions themselves. I've talked to several technicians with Garmin. Here's what you can do to save money. The first thing is you can start your subscription after 1 month, or even just after a few days. You can suspend the subscription. Let's take, for example, my buddy Mike from Mike and Rick Outdoors. He comes up to Colorado about, usually just in the summer, he'll come up about 3 to 4 times a year. You can have your subscription suspended for all the different months that you're not using it. And if you say use it half of the 6 months out of the year, it's cheaper to go month by month than to go annual. So for him, he's coming up to Colorado and then Wyoming for about 4 or 5 times this summer, spring into the fall. He can suspend his account when he's not here. Then when he comes up here, if he wants to have unlimited tracking, unlimited messaging, he can go to the expedition plan for 1 month. And then again, after that subscription stays in place for 1 month. So even after just a few days, you can suspend it so you know that you won't forget to suspend it later. So you're only paying, I think, $60 or so. That'll all be up on the screen. I'm also going to have the specs or information, not the specs, but the subscription plans. You'll see all that multiple times throughout this, where it shows the safety plan, the freedom plan, and the expedition plan. So again, if you want to suspend your subscription, and you can just go safety. If you don't use it very much and you just want search and rescue, you can do that. If you text more and you want to track more and you do MapShare, then I would say go to the expedition plan. But then you can also go to the recreation. So that's the number one thing you can do. Suspend when you're not using it. If you're out all year long and you're active all the time, then I would go annual, and then I would pick the one that's right for you. But again, say you're on safety, you could still switch it to expedition for a month because you're going to be on a real long hike with lots of people or multiple days, and you want to be able to message and track. So one particular time, you can do that. Then you can, after that adventure, then you can change your subscription back to recreation or safety. Those are the best ways to save money. Now, after researching these so long now, and the MapShare is incredible, and I want my wife and my 2 kids to be able to see where I'm at, plus my friend. But those 4 or 5, they get to see the MapShare page. And so on a week-long trip, what I do is I put my tracking or my MapShare tracking or send interval to, I think it's an hour. Every hour it sends an interval so they can see where I'm at. It's not every 10 minutes. It's not every 15 minutes. I think you can go down to like 5 minutes or something. That'll also be on the screen. But depending on how you use it, like I said, I like the MapShare now because here's another reason for the MapShare. And I know we're talking subscription, but I want to bring this up. If somebody wants, or you want somebody to be able to initiate a message with you, if they have an inReach device, they can initiate a message to another inReach user. If they have something else like an ACR Bivy stick or a Spot or a Zoleo, they cannot initiate the conversation. If it's somebody with the phone or an email, even if they have your inReach email, they cannot initiate the conversation. The only way for them to initiate a conversation is if they go onto the MapShare page and you have sent them an email saying, okay, here's the MapShare page, and I'm giving you the permission to email me. If you do that, then they can initiate a conversation with you. That's what I like. I really don't like when I head out and I'm gone for 3, 4, 5 days or so, and all of a sudden, I don't know, the house burned down, the dog dies, something happens with my family. I would want them to get a hold of me. And I've talked to Garmin, I told them how irritated I am with this. There should be better ways for people to initiate a conversation with you rather than having to go to the MapShare page. All right, I've gotten sidetracked. I want to get back to subscription. This can cost a lot of money plus you got to buy the device, but you can save a lot. Just think through it. How do you use it? Do you go out once a year? Do you go out every month? Do you want to do map share? Do you just want to have it for SOS and you don't like to message? You know, think about how you use it, but remember, you can suspend your account every month. You can change it. You can suspend, you can go to safety, you can go to recreation, you can go to expedition plan, and you can change it back. You can go over and over. There is no penalty for changing back and forth. I just wanted you guys to know that, because I don't think we always, including myself, think things through. Please leave comments, messages, questions, advice, tips. I love those, and I'll get back with you guys right away. I'm back out here with my Mini 2. All right, now I've already done a test with the S.O.S. I'm going to show you real quick where this is at. Just for if you don't know, the power button is here up on top. On your right, there is an up or an OK and a back arrow, and then the S.O.S. is right here. On the other side, there's an up and down arrow. This is how you move around the menu and in the device here. If you want to create or follow a course or TracBack or message, you have to use these 4 buttons. Now, if you sync this with your smartphone, then you've got the smartphone and you can message and you can see the big screen, the topo maps. I like to use that. Now, if I'm on a long outdoor adventure, I'm going to turn my phone off periodically. I'll have it off most of the time. I'll have it on battery save mode. I'll have a portable charger with me. This one, I won't need a portable charger. It lasts at least a week, if not longer, a week and a half. So just wanted to make you all aware of that. So back to the S.O.S. You open this flap right here, or cover. You depress this for about 3 seconds, and they will respond. So this is where I've got into the test, and I would recommend this for everybody. If you get a satellite communicator, test the S.O.S. You have to set it up in advance. I think 72 hours in advance, you set it up and then you test it. They will contact you, and if you have a phone number and you're in cell service, then they'll call you. So I have that call that I made, or they made to me, the test that I made, and I'm going to cut away to it right now. And the reason I'm not outside is it is about -17 today. So let's go ahead and initiate this, and it says slide for S.O.S. Got a countdown now. My phone is actually vibrating as it does it, and I have it on silent. All right, there's initiating S.O.S. There's the actual message being sent. Okay, here's the response. Acknowledged. All right, I'm going to just type back that this is scheduled test, just to make sure we're on the same page. They've responded really fast, so now it's 7:03, so all this has happened within a minute. I will add here, though, I am using my Garmin inReach Mini 2, using the Messenger app, the Garmin Messenger app, which, when in cell service, uses cellular service. Now, here's a phone call. See, Garmin is calling me, so I'm going to take the phone call. This is Rick. May I help you?
Hi, this is Ashley with the IERCC. You're testing your Garmin device?
Yes.
Know that we just got it.
Yes.
Did you get our message?
I did. I received 2 messages from you. There's a cancel S.O.S. I'm using my app, actually. So okay. I will cancel the S.O.S. I'll do it while we're on the phone. Let's just see here. So it says canceling S.O.S. It says slide to cancel. And I'm about to do that. All right. Okay, and sending a message to you now. No, wait. No, you got it. That's a message from you. S.O.S. will close when confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we just got the cancel from you.
Okay. That was fast. Even with that conversation, so it ended at 7:07. So at around 5 minutes, I would say within a minute, that it was initiated and they responded. Okay, you can see how fast they responded to me. So they sent messages on the device. They called me. Now, if you're outside of cell service, you won't be able to talk to them, but you saw all of that, and the messages, or you are seeing them now as I put them up on the screen. This works so well the S.O.S. I got to go back to the original reason I got these in the first place. I was up in the Rocky Mountain National Park, and this was about almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And I saw this older gentleman, and he had something on his pack. It was on his left shoulder. And I saw it blinking, and I stopped him, or I asked him, and I said, "What is that?" And he goes, "Well, it's a satellite messenger or communicator." I was like, "Well, what's it do?" And he goes, "Well," and he said, "My wife, it gives her a lot more comfort knowing that she could see where I'm at, and if I get in trouble or need help, I can message her." Now, that device he was using was a Spot Gen 3. They came out with a Spot Gen 4. I have both those devices, but those are one-way satellite communicators. They're great. They're inexpensive. And if you don't have enough money and you just want to get something on your pack, go take a look at those. Great to have something on your pack. And the number one reason is the S.O.S. I would say the number two reason is the two-way messaging. And again, it's not about the navigation. It's great when you can have the Garmin's and other devices, the ACR Bivy Stick, Summer Global Hotspot, the Zoleo. They'll give you maps. Now you have to be synced with your smartphone. Some of the Garmin devices you don't have to be synced. It's just all in the device. But that S.O.S. and two-way messaging, it's the reason I got into this. And when I hike out here in Colorado, I want to know that I can get help. I would just say, if you're going to go out very much at all, get a satellite communicator. Get a cheaper one. And remember, if you're concerned about cost, especially say with the Garmin, and I know this is with the others also, Zoleo and ACR, you can suspend your account or the subscription. So if you're using it 1 or 2 months out of the year, okay, you can even go with more expensive subscription. Say right now, I have the expensive subscription with Garmin, and it's the expedition mode. So I have unlimited tracking, unlimited messaging. And so, but I use that because, I'm testing all year long. But if you had a long outdoor adventure and you didn't want to be worried about how much you're going to get charged for tracks, additional tracks or messaging, then go to the expedition mode for that 1 month. Then you can go back and then suspend it or go to the safety plan. There's all kinds of ways to save money with these subscriptions. Don't just think you have to go to a month-to-month plan or the annual plan and that's all you can do. No, there's ways to save money. So if you have any questions, leave comments below. But remember, the number one thing for these is S.O.S. If you have a life-threatening emergency or you come across somebody else who has a life-threatening emergency, you can call for help. You may think it's never going to happen to you. I've had it nearly happen to me and some family members and friends a few times. We've never had to hit the S.O.S. Thank goodness. But we were close in thinking about it a few times. But because we had the two-way messaging, we were able to message each other, find out where we were at or they were at, and we were able to get, in this one particular case with my son, I had to go all the way around the mountain. Then I had to go up there, and I was in trouble because I had a long hike already, but we were able to get to him and help get him off the mountain without calling the search and rescue or emergency services. Again, S.O.S. Biggest reason to have these. If you got questions or comments, please leave them below. I have another tip for you today, and it's if your device starts to act up a little bit. I've had my Mini 2, my 66i act up several times on me, and the reason they're acting up is because I'm out here testing in this one area a lot. So I'm navigating, I'm tracking, I'm messaging, and I'm tracking different ways, navigating different ways. I'm creating routes, I'm creating courses. And so a lot of things are happening here, and I do my best to clear those activities on my device, and then at home on the Garmin Explorer page, I do my best to clear all that out. But sometimes it doesn't work, and then things will start acting up. And there's another reason it'll act up. If you switch back and forth between devices, or you go from an old device to a new device, sometimes there'll be issues there. And I'm switching back and forth between devices all the time. So if something happens and you just can't clear it, then you want to go and restore your factory settings. And I'm going to show you real quick, but you go into your menu and then you go down to settings, and then under settings you go down to system. And under system, then go down, I know it takes a long time to get through these, but that's why I'm here to show you. Then you go down to reset device. Now, under reset device, you have two options. Reset default settings, and then there's delete data and reset settings. Now, I'm not going to do it right now, but I've done it several times already on other devices and on this one too. And that actually cleared things up. I was not able to message yesterday, and when I did this, because I had switched back and forth between devices, it cleared it, and now I was able to message after that. Another situation was going on. I was tracking. It was seeing tracked from 20 miles away, from 5 miles away, and so it was going way out to where I had just gone a half mile or less here. It was going 5 to 20 miles out, and so it had the very large area, and it wasn't very helpful. So again, selecting reset on the device helped me a lot there. Just remember this tip, because Garmin tech support is really good. Their customer service is, every time I've called, they've been really sharp. They've always been able to help me with my questions or the problems I've had. But this one situation, the technician I was talking to didn't have an answer. And I went on my own and reset the settings, and that took care of it. So just remember that resetting your device can take care of some of the problems that you'll have. Today, I want to talk to you about the Mini 2, but it's about two-way messaging. All right, let's jump right into this. There's multiple ways to message, and I've done it two ways. One on the device itself and the other on my smartphone using the Messenger app. What's nice is the Mini 2 uses the Messenger app for messaging. Make sure if you have the Mini 2 and you haven't already downloaded the Messenger app, make sure you do that. But the Messenger app does several things for you. It does the group messaging. The messaging will transition from Wi-Fi to cell service to satellite service without you having to do anything. Now let's jump into the messaging real quick. I'm going to step you through how this works, and I'm going to look at the device, but everything's going to be up on the screen. All right, so you go into the menu, and the first thing you can do is there's a send message and check-in message. So the check-in message we're going to go to first. I want to tell you something about check-in message real quick, and I'll have a separate video up on this. But check-in messages are free. And somebody was asking me yesterday, said, hey, if you do a check-in message and it actually gives your location, but it's free, you don't get charged for it, right? And that's true. There's some things to be careful about with that. One, if you're going to send these check-in messages to somebody or people, you have to put that into your contacts list on the Garmin Explorer site beforehand. So when you send a check-in message, it goes to everybody that you have listed. You can irritate people really quick, so just be careful with that one. The other thing is, if you're trying to save money, when you send check-in messages, you need to tell everybody, do not respond to those messages unless it's really important, because you will get charged for the responses or to the messages that if they send a message back to you. All right, so on the check-in message, you can create these different messages, and I've got 3 of them here. Check-in 1 says, I'm checking in, everything is okay. Check-in 2, I'm starting my trip. Check-in 3, I'm ending my trip. Those are the 3 things I have. If I need more information than that, then I can go and select messages. But this is the first one, and you go in here and you select the message. So I've selected it, and now it says to send. Now I don't have a choice here to who to send it to. It shows the recipients. But if I hit send, it's going to go to all of them. And what was happening today when I was testing like 7:30 in the morning, and my wife and my son weren't up yet. So they were getting these messages, and it was waking them up, and they were a little bit irritated. So again, this whole thing about, if you think you're going to save money, you're going to send these messages this way, you might irritate some of your family and friends, and maybe you'll have less friends in the future. So that's the first thing you can do is these check-in messages. So you're going to see some screenshots up here of the responses of them getting the messages, and I didn't respond back to them, but you'll see all that. Now the next thing is to send a message. Now this is where you can pick the person. Currently it shows type contact, Facebook, map share, Twitter, and then it has the people I've set up as contacts already. Remember, there's contacts for the check-in messages, that's different. And then you can put in contacts for messaging, so it's easier. They're right here, you don't have to search for them. So I've done all that ahead of time. So I can go up here and I can pick one of them, or I can go and type in, and it says type contact in. So I've done this several times. And if you just start typing, I started typing my name, I started typing my daughter's name, and then it autofills and it comes up with their name. So then you can just scroll on down and pick it. Once you do that, and I'm going to just select somebody here, I'm going to select my son, and a check mark comes up. But if I want to select multiple people, I can do that. But then I'm going to go back up to the top here, and I'm going to hit next. Now there's going to be some different screenshots up here because I sent these to myself and my daughter. So my son's not part of this, but again, you'll get the idea, right? So now it says type message. Okay, so now it says here, there's these quick messages. Give me a minute. I can't reply now. I'm checking in. Everything is okay. Now, so these are all messages that you can set up ahead of time, so you don't have to go typing them out. Make sure you do that with things that you would typically want to say, so you can type less. Now, I did not actually go through this and send a message this way. I've done it in the past. This works really well. It's much easier. So you pick the person, you pick these quick messages, whatever they're called, they'll be up on the screen. You know, there's another one right here. I'm stopping here. I'm having a great time. I'm on my way, etc. You could set up whatever you want. I think there's a limit to how many you can do, but again, I'll have that up on the screen. So I can go here and say next instead of picking those quick text messages, and then it says type message. Now this is where you can then, you have to arrow. These got these buttons on the side right here, up and down, and then you've got the OK and the back. This is where it takes a little bit longer than using your smartphone, because you go up and down, and then when you start typing, it will autofill. So say I'm going to say test message. I've done this today already, and I started typing. I put in T. I think I had to put in TE and S, and then test came up. When that comes up and says that, it'll say hold OK. You hold the OK button down. It then puts you over to the next menu or item to the right, and then you can select test. And then right after that, it came up and said message. So I was able to select message, so I don't have to type everything in. If you want to put a number in, then you hit and you hold down this back arrow here, and it will send you, it'll let you go to caps, it'll send you, give you numbers. It's a little more complicated. You need to play with this, and I always tell everybody, all you guys, make sure you test, and you've got to test navigation, your tracking, your two-way messaging, because if you're going to test on this device, you really need to know it. Because I like to test on my smartphone, but guess what? What if your battery runs dead? What if there's a technical problem and there's no sync anymore? You need to be able to test here as a standalone device. So once you're done here and you've typed in the message, you hit the check mark that says OK. I haven't typed in a message here, but I did before. And then I believe it says send. So that's really how simple it is. But remember, you need to test this. And always be ready to be able to message on this as a standalone device rather than using your smartphone, because you never know what's going to happen when you're on your adventure. And right when you think it's all easy and it's going to be convenient, never going to have a problem, you're going to have problems. Be ready to use these standalone devices. Now the nice thing is you can use your smartphone. And if you use your smartphone and you've connected or synced to the Messenger app. Now remember, if you're going to look at maps and navigate, you need the Explorer app, so you need both. But if you're going to message, then you can use the Messenger app. And on that Messenger app, there's only a couple things you can do. There's tracking, there's S.O.S, there's the quick messages, or the check-in messages. But it's all around the messaging and S.O.S. And it's great to use this because once again, you can go from Wi-Fi cell service to satellite service seamlessly, and you can do the group messaging. It's great to use that Messenger app. But when you go in there, you can then select to do check-in, and then you can also create a message. On the check-in messages, you're going to see right here what it looks like. It's real simple to go through. When you create a message, you hit the plus at the top. There's an icon at the top. I don't want to say it's a plus right now, but you hit a new message, and then it's going to give you the person. You're going to select who, and it's going to let you type the message, and then it's going to, then you can send it. So the messages are so much easier because it's just like messaging on or texting on your phone. The pad comes up at the bottom, the keypad, and you just message, type. It's so much easier. I'm all about convenience with these things, and so I prefer that I use my smartphone, and I just have my Mini 2 or the 67i, whatever, on my pack, And once in a while I will check it, but sometimes I'll just pull my phone out, I'll do everything on it. It depends on how long the adventure I'm going on is and whether I have the ability to charge it at night. So if that's the case, I'm going to have my portable charger, and I'm going to put my phone on battery save. I'll have my device on power save and do things to make its battery last longer. But I do prefer the convenience of using my smartphone. I have tested this so many times with the messages, from the quick messages, the check-in messages, creating messages, sending them to email, sending them to phones. They work really well. I'll just warn you once again, make sure you test before you go out, because I have found myself in more trouble than I care to admit. I'm not perfect. I mess up a lot. And I do most of my testing about 7 to 10 miles away from my house. But that lets me see the problems. I come back here. Sometimes I have to come back here. I have to call Garmin. Sometimes I have to change a setting, or I have to fix something in my contacts. Or in this case yesterday, I had to reset my Mini 2 back to its factory settings. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're going to go out on a long trip. If you're going to go out on a day hike somewhere and you're close by and there's no issue of being in danger or people around, then sure, go out and test it there. But if you're going to go deep in the mountains somewhere and on a long trip, make sure you test, and make sure you test all of it, and not just when it's synced to your phone, but when you're using your device as a standalone. And just to give you a heads up, the next video in this training playlist for the Mini 2 is going to be on tracking. Then after that tracking, then it's going to go into navigation. Today I'm out testing the tracking on my Garmin inReach Mini 2. Now this first test, I just turned the device on and I started hiking, walking, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to see after about 15 minutes or so see if it lays down hidden tracks, and if I can then track back to the starting point without having navigated or started tracking, because the Mini 2 puts down hidden tracks. So we're going to get out here a little bit, see what happens, and we'll then go on to the second test. Okay, we haven't walked that far, about 5-7 minutes maybe, and now it's time to see how I can get back to safety on my Garmin inReach Mini 2. All right, so you hit OK on the device, and then I'm going to arrow down to past start tracking to navigate. And then I'm going to hit navigate, and it says Waypoints TracBack coordinates, so I want TracBack. I'll click on TracBack, it's loading the course. All right, so there's a course that comes up here, and then you click on OK again, and it said go. So if I were to start walking right now, then it would lead me back to the starting point. And I'm going to zoom out here real quick so you can see where I'm at. There's another track that's been laid down here, but sometimes you have to ignore a few of the tracks. I did my best to clear the tracks yesterday, and this has been a bit of an ongoing issue because I've been testing several devices out here. It is giving me the arrow back to the start, and I could easily find my way back. Now the other thing about this, and I'm going to now I'm going to back out of this here, and I'm going to hit OK to stop navigating. I always want to show you how this works on the device, but the other thing is, if you have your smartphone and it's connected, but it's synced, then you can go into the Explorer app and see where you're at here. I can zoom in on this map and I can change it to satellite imagery, and I can see exactly where I'm at, and it's really easy to track back or navigate on the device. Even if you're not even navigating, it's really easy to navigate here. So the second test is going to be about actually starting tracking and looking at what it does. I've set my tracking or log interval to 2 minutes. Most of the time you don't want to do that because most people are paying for tracking. I have the Expedition plan where messaging and tracking is free or unlimited. It's not free, you pay monthly for it. But I do want to give you this little tip right here. If you're out on a long adventure and you want unlimited tracking and unlimited messaging, then you can, say if you're on a safety plan, you could switch to the Expedition plan for 1 month. Get that unlimited tracking messaging so you're not charged more when you're out. Then after your adventure, whatever that might be, then you can switch back to the safety plan and save money. Just want to give you a heads up on that. The other thing you can do is actually suspend your account when you don't use it. So several ways to make these subscriptions a little more affordable so they don't cost you as much money. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to go on my device again here. I'm going to hit OK. This time I'm going to go down to start tracking. And I've hit the start tracking. It's sending points. Well, it says sending points, what it says. So now that I've started tracking, I can just take off hiking. You'll see a lot more detailed trail. I'm not going that far on this test here. I'm going into the trees over here. It's a little windy today and cold. And a lot of times I go into the trees away from everybody so that I can video, and then the wind noise isn't as bad. But I do want to let you know you can always track on your smartphones. On the Explorer app, if you go to devices, then under inReach Mini 2, I've got several devices that show up here. It says S.O.S tracking and weather. And if I click on tracking, it would start the tracking right here, just to give you a heads up on another way to do it. So let's go walk over to where I'm going to video, and I'll show you what it looks like when those tracks are laid down. Okay, I just did a really short hike here. It's not even a hike, it's a walk. But I want to look at my device first. I'm sorry, my Explorer app on my phone. And I want to look at the map and see this here shows real quick where I've hiked to here. Okay, well, so it's great on this. When you look on your phone and it's synced, then the trail or the track behind me is in cyan and it shows exactly where I went. Now I may have said something incorrectly, and that is I set my log interval to 2 minutes for the tracking. But I think that actually what it does is it sends that track to the map share page. So somebody who's watching the map share page can see you more often. Say you're on a real short hike, they can see where you're at. But I would normally not ever use 2-minute tracking or logging. I would go 10 minutes, or if I'm on a long trip, I might go an hour, 2 hours. But on my device, you can set your log detail or your tracking detail to high detail. Before I get into that log detail, I want to turn this off really quick. So if I hit OK, so right now it's still sending points. So it says stop tracking. So I'm going to stop, and it says save discard, and I'm going to discard. But if you want to get more detail on your tracking, then if you go into the menu and you go down to settings, and then you go into tracking. Now right now it says send interval 2 minutes. Now again, send interval is when it sends that track to MapShare. And I'm going to actually change that right now. So it says off 2 minutes. I normally set it on 10 minutes. I think default comes on 10 minutes. And then I'm going to back out of that. So what I want to show you here is the activity recording. And if you click on activity recording, you get two options. You get standard and high detail. I have mine on high detail. If you were on a longer trip and you want to save battery, then you would go standard. But since I want more information out here when I'm testing, and I'm only out here for a short time today, I don't care about the battery life, and so I put mine on high detail. So I've turned off the tracking. There's no tracks on my phone anymore, and there's nothing tracking right now on the device. Well, I hope that's helped you some. The tracking's pretty simple. On the Mini 2, if you do not track, it puts hidden tracks down so you can get back to your starting point. But I always recommend, if you can, is to actually start tracking. You will get a much better track, a very well-defined track. And here's what I like, and I want to just throw this out real quick before we end. If you don't start tracking and you come to multiple trails, and out here there's one place where there's 4 trails that split, and you go beyond that, say it's dark or snowing or whatever it might be, and you're lost, and you come up to these 4 trails. If you're not tracking, it's going to put a point out there and it's just a straight line. Well, it doesn't tell you to go right, left, whatever. It just has a straight line. So you might be going through a forest. So you have to use common sense. Hopefully, you can, in memory, whatever, you can see, well, I think I went on this trail, not this other trail. But if you track, it'll tell you exactly. You'll come up to the trail, it'll show you, or maybe you're not even on a trail, you're just bushwhacking, you're out in the open. It will tell you exactly where you turned. So I always use tracking when I go out. It's a lot nicer. And again, if you don't want to spend the money just for that 1 month, go to the expedition mode, get that unlimited tracking so you don't have to worry about paying anymore. and you'll get all the detail you want. Hey, have you ever wondered how to save money when you're wanting to track back with a Garmin inReach Mini 2, or really for any Garmin device, but you didn't want to pay for the tracking, but you still want to be able to track back? Well, I've got a few hacks or savings for you to think about that'll help you if you don't have the expedition plan. So there's two ways. The first way, and I talked to Garmin today just to clarify this, and the first way I knew is true. If you have a route that you've downloaded, maybe AllTrails or some other map software, app, if you have a route or you create your route from the Garmin Explorer website, and then you sync your satellite messenger with your phone, or maybe not using your phone, but you can just still use this. And then when you navigate, you can navigate by route. And I'm going to walk you through this real quick, and I'll have screenshots up of all this. So the first thing you would do if you want to navigate, on the main menu, you go down to, well, there's Start Tracking, but there's Navigate. So you click on Navigate. There's Waypoints, TracBack, but we want to go down to Courses. And you click on Courses, and I've got a whole lot of courses in here. So you pick your course and you can navigate, and you can navigate in the order that you created the course, or that somebody created it, or in reverse order. So you click on that and then you start navigating. And that doesn't cost you anything. And then if you're lost, or you say, hey, that was a lot longer, I want to turn around, then you can stop navigating, and then you can, well, let's just do this real quick. I'm going to hit Alderfer, the Three Sisters, and then I'm going to hit go, and it's loading the course right now, and start tracking. Now this is where you probably want to say no, don't track. So I'm going to hit no. So right now it's showing me walking, and I'm not walking. It's 38 miles away. Is that really true? I think it is. So here's where I wanted to just walk you through this. So you've walked 10 feet, you're like, I'm done, I want to quit walking. You hit the OK button, stop navigation. And then if I click it again, it says navigate and track back. Now this is where you can track back. This works really good, and again, it's free. You can do this track back without, I just want to say without a subscription. There's a lot of things you can do without having a subscription. You can't two-way message, you can't S.O.S, you can't get weather, but you can navigate and you can track back. So some things are good without a subscription. I just would always say, make sure that you test this before you go out on your real adventure. I'm telling you something right here, and you know what? I have been wrong a few times, but this I know is true. Just by buying this, any Garmin messenger or satellite messenger, you have certain functions, and navigation is one of them. TracBack is one of them. So this is the first way. If you navigate by route and then stop and then hit navigate back by TracBack, it will bring you back to the starting point. That's number one. Now let's say you're out and you don't have a trail, you either don't like doing it, or it's a spur of the moment and there's no route. Here's what you do. Let's go back to the starting point here. So you go to the menu, and then you go down to settings, and I think you can go up. Yep, you can go up, and it's the first one. So when you click settings, then you go to tracking. In tracking, you go to send interval. Now mine's on 2 minutes. Now, I want to take this moment to tell you, I don't always think about doing things the cheapest way because I have the expedition mode, because that's all I do is I test these. And I want to see all the detail it can give me. But if you're on safety or recreation and you want to save money, man, really leave questions for me and ask these things, because I don't always think about things. And I wouldn't have made this video unless NW Lady left this comment and asked the question. So this is for you, NW Lady. Once you hit the interval, the send interval, then you can go 2 minutes, 5 minutes, etc. But at the very top, it says off. I'm not going to click off right now. Well, yeah, you know I will. Let's go. I'm going to click go up and click off. So send interval is off. So now you go all the way back out, and you're on main screen. This is where when you go to start tracking, because in order to track back, it's got to know you started something. So in this case, because tracking is off, you can say start tracking. And now it's going to track, but it's free. It does not cost you any money. Now, nobody else is going to see it. When you have people on MapShare, people at home, and they're able to track you and see you, if your send interval is off, they're not going to see it. But if you don't care about that and you just want to start tracking so that you can track back, this is the way to do it. So you track, you're not getting charged for it, and then when you're done, it says stop tracking, and it's saying discarding, activity discarded. I didn't go anywhere, I just went 0 feet, and it says press OK to start tracking. Well, I really didn't want to start tracking, but I can go navigate, I can go track back. Bottom line is always test these, make sure you know what you're doing, but this is the free way. If you don't have a route, you can track, turn the track interval off, and then you can track without being charged for it, and then you can track back. All right, let's recap. If you have the expedition plan, great. Not a lot of people need that. Unless you want to text a lot and you want to map share and you want to track and all that, okay, that's the best plan to get. But most of us are on safety and recreation. I really kind of recommend, I do recommend most people go recreation, because I think I'm kind of a typical user, and I'm not wealthy, but I want to have more than just the basics that the safety plan gives. Anyway, side note, got distracted again. But again, if you're trying to save money, navigate by route, then you can always track back. If you're not navigating by route, then turn off your send interval for your tracking, and then you can start tracking, and then when you get out and you want to track back, you can do that free of charge. So please leave comments, ask questions, and I'll see you in the next video. This one here is really going to be about tracking back, or what I'd say TracBack, and it's not with a K, it's TracBack. It's Garmin TracBack. There's several ways to do TracBack here, and for today what I'm doing, I'm just going to start tracking. You can navigate too, and so when you're navigating and you're lost or you're done and you want to find your way back, you can select TracBack to track back from navigating. But in this case, it's just going to be tracking. And again, you'll see that I can track back if I just start tracking. Now, you can also track back if you don't start tracking, just as a little tip, because the Garmin inReach Mini 2 lays down hidden tracks. Now, it's not very good in my opinion, because it'll lay down one track every 10 minutes or so. And it'll basically be a waypoint, and it won't show your route to get in or the path you came in on. So if you came along a river or a cliff or a mountain, it's going to just give you that straight shot. That's why I really like to use tracking, because it'll show exactly how I came in. So let's go here and we're going to start tracking. So I'm going to hit the menu button, or the OK button here. And then we're going to go down to, see it says send message, check in, start tracking. So this is where we're going to go right now. We're going to start tracking. It says it's sending point, and now we are going to go for a very short hike. And some people say it's not a hike. Yeah, I know. It's beautiful out here. We're in Colorado. It's a gorgeous day. It's been raining a lot, and it's about 6:30 or 7 in the morning. Not too many people are out yet. I have my dog Ranger with me. So whether it's a walk or a hike, doesn't matter. It's gorgeous. It's out here in Colorado. So I'm going to go for a very short hike. Then we're going to, or I will, then stop tracking and track back. It's very easy to do. Okay, I'm just getting finished with my really hard hike. This was so difficult. Sorry, it's, man, that was, I don't know, 300 yards or so. Yeah, forgive me. You know, I'm out here testing these things for everybody, and I don't need to go on a long hike. Maybe I need to go on a longer hike to get some more exercise, but to test this, I don't need to go on a long hike. So it's been tracking, and there won't be a whole lot of track set down here. But the first thing I want to do real quick is I want to look at my phone, because this is where I will use my phone quite a bit with the Mini 2, because it's about convenience when I'm using the Mini 2. it's easy to see. You have a real big screen. You can message and look at the weather and everything from here. So just remember that there's a big convenience factor, for me at least, with using the Mini 2. But let's look at what happens here when I've been tracking and I want to track back to safety. So right now it says all points set. Now I'm going to hit OK right here. Now it says stop tracking. Now it says also back to start. So in this case, I can continue tracking back to my start if I want to. But if I want to stop tracking and then go to TracBack, I can do that. Now here it says back to start. And I had somebody who was asking, so a subscriber asked, well, what's the difference? Well, I don't think there is a difference at all, because say if I'm out and I'm lost, I don't need to stop tracking, nor do I want to stop tracking if I'm lost, because that will continue to show my path. So in this case, just acting like I'm lost, I wouldn't track back. Back to start is going to basically use the TracBack feature. So in this case, I am not going to track back. But this here is really going to be, you know, about being lost. I said I was going to do TracBack, but let's just do back to start right now, okay? So I'm going to arrow down to back to start. So I'm going to click on back to start. Now it's loading the course, and here it shows my path back to the start. And I came right from this direction, basically right into the sun, and it shows my arrow. So I'm going to just walk up here a little bit so you can see it's following the course back to the start. And then I'll come back here and wrap this up, what I've found out. Okay, I just went back up there 50 yards or so, and you can see from the screenshots that it's taking me right along the course. It's got little dots or tracks that it set down to show how I came in, and then it was showing me going back. And then when I turned around and I started coming back this way, I got an audible and a visual alert that I was off course. This is what I love about the Mini 2. You know, it doesn't show as much as the Garmin GPS Map 67i with the on-screen satellite topo and things like that. But I mean, it's a small device, and it's great because it's easy to carry in your pack, but it does give you a lot of great information. And the thing that's awesome about this is, in my opinion, from testing the 67i, the Mini 2 will give you quicker off and on course alerts than the 67i does. And I have tested that 67i and looked at how to improve the on course or off course alerts to get it to where it's instead of being 100 yards before it gives an alert, it's 20, 30 yards. This here, the Mini 2 gives it a lot faster, and 20 yards, 30 yards off, or less actually. I would say 20 to 30 feet off, and it's giving me a course alert. So what I'm going to do here, since I'm back and I'm going to wrap this up, I am going to do one more thing at the end, a little tip, I guess I would say. And I'm going to hit the OK button here. I'm going to stop this. It says stop navigation. All right, so I'm going to hit stop, and so that is over. Now I'm still tracking, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop tracking here, because I'm going to do a slightly different test. This is a little tip I was telling you about here. And let me get out of here, and we're going to stop tracking. And when you stop tracking, you can save or discard. And, for now, I'm going to save it because I may want to access this for the video. All right, this next tip or last kind of test for you guys is what it looks like to stop tracking and track back. And again, I'm not going to go very far, but we'll see if there's any difference at all, and I don't think there is. It's just a different terminology. And again, I would not stop tracking if you are truly out on an adventure and you're lost. So let's go ahead and start tracking right now. So it's sending points, and we are going to do another short walk through this meadow back here, and I will be right back. All right, Ranger, let's go. Okay, that was a really short hike, not a hike. And here's some difference about this TracBack and the return to start. Because this was, again, this was the TracBack one. And let me recommend real quick that you use return to start if you're lost. If that's not an option, because maybe you weren't tracking or something, then I would use TracBack, absolutely. But return to start, when I did this first test today, it showed my tracks and it showed me going right back to where I did start from. In this case here, and I've got screenshots of this, it's showing when I'm tracking back, it's showing I'm 10.28 miles away. Well, you got to think about this for 1 second. I am in the middle of a test. I've been tracking to do my last battery test for the Mini 2 in not expedition mode, because you can't do that on the Mini 2. You can on the 66i and 67i, but not the Mini 2. But you go low battery mode. And so that's this test. And I've been tracking during this low battery mode. So basically it's taking me back to my house. It's just 10.8 miles away. So be very careful with this, and this is why I don't want to have to always come out here and be perfect with these tests, because you need to see that there are issues when you go out and you use these devices. For example, when it's showing I'm 10.28 miles away, that doesn't help me if I'm a half a mile away from where I currently am and I'm lost. So always make sure you do what I did not do today. And I didn't do it for a reason, because I'm in the middle of another test. But always make sure that you clear your activities. Get rid of anything that's not important. Maybe you have some courses that you were testing. Maybe then you got some activities and tracking. Get rid of all of that. When you go out for your real adventure, clear it out. Now, I'm not saying to clear your courses out. If it's a course that's a test and you don't need it, we'll clear that out. But if it's tracks and activities that you don't need anymore, clear them out, because what I've just shown you is that activity or track is sending me to my house when I really need to go this way. Just a little tip. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you've got questions or advice and you want to see me test something else, please leave a comment and a message below. One of my subscribers asked, on the Mini 2, how do you lay a waypoint down? So this is really simple. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. And because it's 2 different ways, it might take slightly longer than what I thought. But on the Mini 2, the first thing you're going to do is hit the OK button. And then you can go down through start tracking, navigate, and it says mark waypoint. Now it said mark waypoint, and in fact it just did it. So on this Mini 2, when you select mark waypoint, it's marking that waypoint. And it says, then it said go back to, or hit the return arrow to go cancel it. Well, so it says that I'm at 6,782 feet. It gives a northing and westing. Now if I hit OK again, because there's 3 little bars at the top, so it's telling me there's something else there that I can use. So when I hit that OK button, it says edit details or delete. Now in this case, I don't want to delete, I want to edit the details. So it says name, and then it has icon position. So let's just go through this real quick. So I'm going to hit on name, and right now it says 10. So evidently there's been 10 waypoints that I've put down. And it says type name. Now the nice thing is here, I can give it a unique name, or it gives me things here like bridge, boat ramp, campsite, car, intersection, parking lot. So instead of type, well, you know what? I want to show you how to type a unique name. So let's go back up here to type name. So under type name, now this is where it gets more challenging, because you have to arrow around to select the letters. I'm going to show you how to do it on my phone, and that's what's going to take slightly longer on this. It'll be faster, but there's 2 ways I'm going to show you. So I'm going to arrow down here, and what am I going to say? I'm just going to say test, okay, something simple. Actually, I'm going to arrow up. I'm going to see if I can get to the T faster. And here it is, test, T, let's see. And see, what's great about this is it says hold OK, because then it gives you other options. It'll start autofilling words. It's great because it does help save time. Now when I hit that screenshot, it actually put an S in there for me, so I need to get back out of, or I need to get back to the back arrow to get rid of that S. Okay, so when I've done the test and I want to get back out, I can go back to the check mark. So now you can see right here it says name and it says test. Now there's icon, all right? So let me go down here to, I'm trying to get another screenshot. Okay, this is one thing I don't like about the Mini 2, and it's a lot easier with the 67i. The Mini 2, you have to push 2 buttons down at the same time to screenshot it. And if you don't hit it just right, it will select the next icon. So Garmin, please fix it. All right, so I finally got a screenshot, and I'm gonna go into icons. It says outdoors, civil, transportation. You know, it really is outdoors, right? Oh, so what it is these are subcategories or directories, if you may. So I'm in outdoors, so I'm gonna select outdoors, and then here it has biking, camping, or campsite. And I'm just gonna arrow down here and see some of these. Oh, there's fishing, picnic tables, a tree or forest. So, you know, just to make this a little bit faster, I'm gonna say, hey, this is a great campsite. It's not really, I mean, it's not a bad campsite, honestly. I don't think you can camp here though. But I am going to select the campsite. So now I've got that icon picked, and then it says position. Now I have not done this before, so this is new. It's new for me, new for you too, probably, okay? So I'm gonna hit position, and again, I'm not hitting both buttons just right, but now I got the screenshot. Now under position, it's giving me the coordinates, and I guess that's all you really need. Now the one thing I'd wanna know is how to share that. Now if I hit OK, oh, see, I hit OK, it's allowing me here to arrow around. Oh wow, it just changed it. So I hit the down arrow and it changed it from 39 degrees to 29 degrees, which would put me maybe in, not maybe another state, but it would not put me right here. So we don't want to do that. But if you wanted to, you could. All right, so I have a waypoint now. So now I am going to back out of this. Now here's the interesting part. Once you have marked your waypoint. Now see, I made a mistake and I was trying to get a screenshot, so I put another waypoint down. But now I can go to navigate. So when I hit navigate, it says waypoints, TracBack, coordinates. Now since I just put a waypoint down, and in this particular case, I want to navigate to that waypoint. I'm going to select the waypoint. It says I'm 40 feet away. Now this is another great example of something I wasn't expecting to tell you about. But some people say, well, how accurate are these? Well, I've seen these waypoints and the tracking and things get me within 20, 30 feet. This is saying I'm 40 feet away. So, you know, give or take 10 feet. You're going to get your accuracy, say, between, say, 30 and 50, or, you know, maybe it's as good as 20. But just another little tip, little heads up there. All right, so I am navigating right now, and I don't really want to. Again, 39 feet away, and it's showing multiple waypoints down here. And it said number 9, test 2, a test. So now this is something, again, I was going to mess up and not show you. Now I can select that test, and now it says I'm 50 feet away. Again, I was pretty close, and I said give or take 10 feet. It's saying 50 feet away. All right, got it? That is how you do it on the Mini 2 on the device itself. Now, let's go ahead and stop this. If I hit OK, it says go, pan, view, details. I don't want to do any of that. I want to get out of it. So I'm going to back arrow here. And I'm going to stop this. So it says navigate, start tracking. All right, so what I want to show you right now is how convenient it is to use your phone instead of the device. So in this case, you know, with the Mini 2, if you're going to want a message or S.O.S, you can do that in the Messenger app. All right, and then so I've got some stuff here, and I'll show you some screenshots again of those. But again, the Mini 2 is great and 6.7 is great. 6.7.9 is great because if you're in cell service and Wi-Fi, it'll use that first before going to satellites. And so it's, even if you don't, say you go to the Explorer app and you say, I'm going to message somebody. Well, it's going to switch you over to the Messenger app. But in this case here, we want to go to the the Explorer app. And I want to put a waypoint down. And now right here, you can already see there are 2 campsites, and those are the 2 waypoints I just set. And I think there's actually a 3rd point or 4th because they're flags, they're blue flags, and you can see that on the screen. Now, if I want to set a new waypoint right here, it's so easy. All I'm going to do, there's a plus icon at the top left. I'm going to hit that plus icon. It says create waypoint, create course, import GPX file. So I've shown you guys before how to create courses using this same method. But in this case, I want to hit create waypoint. What's nice here is it gives me the opportunity to put a name in. So I'm going to put test 3. Did I put test 2 before? No, it was test 2. So this is going to put be test 3. Now you can see here how easy it is to type. It's just like typing a message, or when you send a message on your phone to somebody, or a text. Sorry, I wasn't thinking correctly there. So test, and I'm going to put 3. You can see how fast it is for me to type here. So convenience factor is huge on these devices. If you're out and about, unless you're on a really rugged, long outdoor adventure where you don't want to use your phone, okay, understood. You don't want to use your phone in situations like that. But here, short day hikes, you're not worried about the weather, the dust, dropping it and losing it. It's so much easier on the phone. So I'm going to hit OK. Now it shows test 3 and it says go. So now I'm going to hit go. And now it's thinking. I think it's thinking. Oh, it says select a navigation device. So since I have my Garmin inReach, my Garmin, so I can't even think of the name, the Phoenix 7X Sapphire Solar, it wants to know if I want to navigate by that. And I don't, I want to go Mini 2. So I'm going to select Mini 2, says enable tracking. And of course, I always enable tracking. So let's go ahead and enable tracking. And it's syncing waypoints to the device. And again, you've got this real big screen right here. It's great. It's so convenient. And it's sitting in my pocket. And I leave this right here. Again, don't even realize this Mini 2 is on me a lot of times. And I just pull this out. It's so much more convenient. And I said, the large screen, how easy it is to type. And so, it depends on how you use your satellite communicator. Okay, you just heard that. And it says additional devices detected. So that beep there was on the Mini 2. Oh, darn it. I was about to call S.O.S. Don't want to do that. So it says additional devices detected. Start navigation on all connected devices. And I don't want to do that for today, because if I do that, it'll navigate on my watch, which is great. Love doing that. But I'm just going to hit skip on that. And so now I have my course right here. I'm not very far away, 50 feet max. And also the arrow shows a little Bluetooth icon in it, so you can see that you are connected via Bluetooth. There's a cyan trail. And you can see that here, but there's a screenshot because you can see it a lot better on the screen than here. It was going to be a quick test, but going in and setting the waypoint name, picking the icon, and doing that on the device, and then showing you how to do it on the phone took a little more time than I thought. But I hope you learned something today about that. And if you have additional questions or advice or constructive criticism, I'll take all of it. This test is going to be about navigating and then also either tracking back or back to start. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to set a course or create a course on my smartphone, but then I'm going to do the tracking or the navigating by the device itself. And then we'll primarily look at the device to see about the TracBack or back to start. So I guess, the first thing you always need to do is make sure you turn your device on. So now one thing I have done recently, or this morning, I actually cleared all tracks and I cleared all of my activities. And then I went on to my device. Now this is just something I want to make you guys aware of. is when I cleared my tracks and activities on the computer on the Garmin map page, then I went to my phone and I synced my phone, because my phone is synced here with my device. And when I looked at my phone, my smartphone on the Explorer app, the activity was still there. The tracks were gone, the activity was there. Or it could have been vice versa, one of those two. So I actually had to clear something on my computer on the Explorer map page from Garmin, but I also had to clear it on the Explorer app. Just be aware of that, because sometimes I've had so many tracks show up out here and activities that it kind of got in the way of my test. So just want to give you that hint. So now that the device is on, we'll confirm it's on. It is. Now, you know, you can do this at home too. If you want to create a course at home, you can do that, or you can even do it at home on your phone. I will say that creating a course on your phone, whether at home or in the parking lot, at the trailhead, or out on the trail, is really easy, and I think it's easier to do than to do on the Explorer map page. So we're going to go into the Explorer app. Now we're going to zoom in, and I can see the trail. There's already an existing trail out here, but we are going to basically go overland, and we're going to go from waypoint to waypoint. So what you do is you hit the plus icon at the top left, and then it comes with create waypoints, create course, import GPX. So I'm going to hit create course. And now what you do at this point, you can zoom in closer if you want. And I need to find out exactly where I'm at. I know where I'm at here, but I'm going to go ahead and create a course. All right, and what I wanted to do here before I went too far is I wanted to make sure in my Explorer app that it was the Mini 2 is connected, and it is. So now I can go back to the map page and I can hit the plus icon, and I'm going to create course. Now this is where you just start putting little points down, or points down with your finger. Now I can move around on the screen, but I know exactly where I'm at. So you always need to put a point where you're at, where you're starting at. So I'm going to put a point there, and I can see the way through this meadow that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to move over here. So as best I can, I'm going to put a few points down to define the course I'm going to take today. So I'm going to continue placing points down here. I hit a road after some point, but then I believe I get into some private property out here. And this is, you got to be careful, because this is an open space trail and it's public, but there is somebody out here that I probably, you know, the previous owners who still have the rights to live here or to have their cabin, because I think it's a cabin out there. So now you can see I've put my route in here to navigate on this course, and then I hit done or save. At the top right it says save. Now this is where I always want to put in a unique course name, because right now it just says May 27, 2023, 7:53 a.m. I mean, that's great. Maybe you like it that way, but I don't. So today I'm going to put Mini 2 navigation test. And it's really easy to type this stuff in, because it's just like typing or texting on your phone. So let me put this in real quick. It's really fast. So I put in Mini 2 navigation and TracBack. I didn't say test, but now it has a name that shows up here, and I can hit go. Now it's asking me if I want to navigate by both. I have two devices here. I've got my Mini 2, and I also have my Fenix 7X, my Garmin Fenix 7X Solar, Sapphire Solar watch. I'm actually going to hit the inReach Mini 2 because that's what I want to navigate by. Now it's asking me if I want to enable tracking. Now I always enable tracking. And again, another tip right here, if you're going to get charged for tracking, and you don't want to be charged for it because maybe you have the safety plan and you don't get many tracks, you can upgrade to the expedition plan, or even, you know, the recreation plan for 1 month. And on the expedition plan you get unlimited tracking. On the recreation you get more, but not as much. I mean, of course, not unlimited. So if you want to track more, and I think it's really safe to do it. One, if anybody's watching you on MapShare and you want them to know, then you're going to have maybe a lot more tracks being set down or logged. So I always track, because when I track, I get a lot more detail of where I'm going on my course here, and people can see it too. And on this test here, I've got it on 2-minute log interval, and I've got the activity recording on high detail. And you may not want that because that, again, it'll cost you more in tracks, and it will then run your battery down a little more if you're on high detail on the activity recording. But I'm out here, and I always, this site is always about, and has always been about, safety and getting out of trouble, or to be able to get help when you're in trouble. So being able to track and to show people where you're at and to contact people is the #1 reason for my site. So I'm going to enable tracking. So there says there's additional devices detected, and I'm going to start on all of them because, I mean, why not be able to see where I'm at on my phone, my watch also. So my trail's magenta in front of me. My triangle, blue triangle, also has the sync icon in it, or the Bluetooth icon in it, so you can see that you are connected. And so I'm going to go out here and start following this course. And then when I get out there, then I'll either track back or do the return to start. So let's get going with it. And I can see here on my phone, and I can also watch where I'm going here on the device itself. Oh, plus the watch. All right, so let's get going, and in a little bit we'll see what happens when we track back. All right, didn't go very far. I mean, I don't even know if it was a half mile, but now when I look here at my map on my phone, you can see the cyan line behind me and the magenta still in front. I didn't go quite the whole way. And it says a distance of 1,017 feet. It's 6 minutes, and it gives me the time. Does it give me more information than that? Sure does. Gives me my elevation, 6,720 feet, bearing and moving average, and of course I'm stopped right now, so not moving. And it gives me speed, heading, and time moving. I guess moving average was the 2 miles per hour, which is not that fast, but I wasn't trying to go fast. All right, now it says stop. So let's go ahead and hit stop here. All right, so I've stopped the navigation, but now I want to track back. Now, one thing here is you really don't need track back or back to start, because as you see the course right on the map in front of you right here, it's very obvious where you're at. But I'm actually not seeing how to track back on my smartphone. So interestingly enough, I don't see how you can track back on the Explorer app. You can see the map, so you wouldn't need the track back. But I'm going to have to do another test right here. And what I'm going to do is I'll create a course, and I'll do a course in reverse, or I might just use this course here, and I might be able to navigate by reverse course, but I'll do it on my Mini 2 and not on the Explorer app. It's good you're seeing this today, because it's not always about being perfect, because when you go out, sometimes, you know, things don't work, and that's why you need to come out here and test. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that now we're going to keep tracking. We're not going to stop that. It says stop tracking, and it says navigate. So it's not navigating anymore here, but what I want to do is I want to navigate back to my start. Now if I hit navigate right now here's where it says Waypoints TracBack. Now there's been the previous tests I did where I was tracking out, or was I tracking? I was navigating. I was tracking. I'd set tracking. And then when I stopped I didn't stop the tracking, but when I hit OK, it said back to start. So that's a situation where you're tracking, but not navigating, and then you have the back to start. Now this here, because I stopped navigating, now it says track back. And I'm going to hit track back. Now it's loading course. Now I can see where I'm at. But what I don't like here is it's showing my point 5.55 miles away. And then that should be back to my house. So I had cleared all my tracks and cleared all my activities. So why is it showing back to the house? Because I didn't turn my device on until I got out here. And then even at the trailhead, I didn't turn it on. I waited till I got to the point where I started my video. Then I turned it on, and then I started tracking once I created the course. So I'm really not sure why it's doing this. When I hit track back, and now it says go or pan. So if I hit go, let's just see where this shows me. Now, okay, it shows two lines on the screen. It shows the one that goes all the way back to my house, but it does show the dotted line or dashed line that takes me right back here. So we're going to walk up here, follow this back, and again, it's not about being perfect, it's about testing your device enough to know that you can use it when you need it in an emergency or when you're out on your adventure. So again, please test your device, because evidently I need to test mine more. Okay, so I had a technical difficulty on this field test, and somehow the video got messed up when I tracked back to the start. What happened though, you can see from all the screenshots, when I tracked back, I was going through an open meadow, and so I didn't follow exactly the course because there was no path there, and you can see all that on the screen. But when I got back, I got back to my starting point just fine. I could see everything on this Mini 2, just watching the tracks and seeing where I was going. If I went off course, it would say off course or on course. So when I got back, then what I did is I stopped the navigation or the TracBack. And then I started navigation again, this time, because the first time I did it with my smartphone. But this time I started navigation with the device, with the Mini 2 itself. But I already had the course in there. So once you put a course in, it doesn't go away unless you delete it. So then I navigated by the course on the Mini 2, and then it showed up. You could see the course, and you could see the dashes. You could see actually the tracks also. And on my phone, you could see that on the Explorer app, it also was showing the trail or the course, but then it was showing the cyan both directions for the tracking that was going on. Well, that's it. It worked really well. I'm still learning things as I do these videos. So again, that's why I always say test. And I test these a lot. So when you get a new device, test it. Make sure you understand it. But what I want to do right now is I want to look at navigating with the Mini 2, specifically starting navigation in the Explorer app. Because the last time I was out here, I was navigating both with the Mini 2 by itself and in the Explorer app. But when I started navigating in the Explorer app, I could not see my tracks, trails, anything on the Mini 2 on the device itself. So that's what we're going to test right here. I already created a course when I was testing this eTrex out here. So we're going to go into the Explorer app, and you can see the course I just created. It's in blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my library, and you can see there's activities, waypoints, routes, courses. So I'm going to go on, hit course, and this is a course I just created today, and it was just June 6th. I didn't rename the course. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see more details here, and I'm going to hit go. I'd really like to go in reverse. Let's see, does it allow me to go in reverse? It's not really saying that. If I click on the Mini 2, now it says enable tracking. I'm not going to enable tracking. Ah, well, let's do it anyway. Let's get used to doing that. Oh, there was a skip. I could have skipped it. And then there's additional devices, start all. Well, sure, let's start all. All right, so my course shows up magenta in front of me. I can go now and easily on this device then follow it. It's in color. My other courses I've been on out here are in cyan or tracks, and then this one here is in magenta. All right, what I really want to know right now is, can I see it on the Mini 2? And right now I can't. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to go down to navigate. Well, see, this is where it says stop navigating. I don't want to stop navigating. I want to see the map. And if I go down through all the menu items here, there's just nothing I see that says to show me the map. I have one other idea here in a second. I just hit on settings, and I'm going to go down to map. But I know that's not going to do anything for me, because that's just going to give me my map settings. And it says waypoints show, map labels show. So that's not what I want. So I'm going to get all the way back out. Now, in this case here, I'm going to hit the up or down arrow. And so this says messages arrived. It says arrived. It says I'm already at the end. And it says navigating, TracBack or tracking. And see if I hit navigate. Okay, this is how you do it. Now I'm a little bit farther out, so I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hand zoom in. So if you want to zoom in, you hit the plus or negative arrow here to zoom in. So I'm going to zoom in a little closer. Now it doesn't show my course right now because it basically stopped me navigating because I didn't navigate in reverse, and I'm at the end of this course. I didn't see how to navigate in reverse when I was on the Explorer app. I can navigate in reverse on this, but this is what I really wanted to know today. And so if I get out of this real quick, let's go back out. So now I'm at the home screen where it just has the time. Again, I could either hit up or down arrow. This time we're going to hit up. Maybe I hit up last time. So it says messages. And then if I can arrow down, taking a screenshot there, I can arrow down, well, let's see, go back up. Oh, so I have to keep going up. There's weather, navigation. Yeah, so navigation. And if I hit on navigation here, then it comes this time here, because I'm not navigating right now, it says tracking, updated, and then we're going back down here to navigation. Maybe I hit the wrong button there. I think I hit the up arrow instead of OK. So right there, so I hit OK, and it shows my location on the screen. That's how you do it. If you start navigating by the Explorer app or on the Explorer app, you will not see it on your Mini 2. Unless you go hit the up or down arrow, then it gives you the option to go to navigation. When you click on navigation, you will see the map. All right, that's what I didn't know last time and I couldn't figure out. And I talked to Garmin, to one tech I talked to didn't know the answer. You know, Garmin's really good, but they don't always know everything because sometimes maybe the techs are younger and less experienced, and sometimes you'll get a really experienced tech who will know the answer, but this guy didn't know that. That's why I wanted to come back out here and test it. I either wanted to know that I couldn't see it on the Mini 2 when I started on the Explorer app, or I wanted to find out how to do it. So there it is. We'll end this video so it's not taking up all of your day. I know you appreciate that. And today I want to ask you a question. What is the difference between TracBack and back to start? That question was brought up by a few people on the website and YouTube channel, and I've done some research on it, plus all the testing I've done, and I have an answer for you. This is what I found out personally. Now I've talked to Garmin, the Garmin technician this week, and this is, basically I'll just start with this. Back to start and TracBack are very similar. They're going to take you back to your starting location to get you back to safety. But there is a little difference. And so when I was out testing, I noticed a few things. And one time I was out and I didn't set any tracking, I didn't navigate, and I just took off hiking. And then when I was out, I was like, then I wanted to go back to start. On the Mini 2, it puts down hidden tracks. So I was able to then navigate back to start, but it only puts like one track down every 10 minutes. And those tracks disappear after 24 hours. They're temporary hidden tracks. Now every device is different. And on the Explorer Plus, the 67i, there are differences in these. And the 67i doesn't put down hidden tracks. Only the Mini 2 does. But when I was going out on the Mini 2 without starting any tracking, I got to my turnaround, I turned around, I then hit navigation, and it came up with not back to start, it said TracBack. So I did another test this last week and I set tracking. Now I always recommend you track because it will help you to find your way back because it gives you more detail on the path that you took. And then if other people are watching that you've shared on the map share with, then they can see where you're at also. But I tracked out, I wasn't navigating, I just had tracking on, and then I got out and then I stopped tracking. When I hit stop tracking, it gave me the option, it says back to start. So I hit back to start and it showed my detailed trail of how I came in, and again, just like TracBack, it'll take you back to your starting point. Then I think it was actually this last weekend too, the very same day, I did another test and I navigated. Well, when I navigated out and then I stopped the navigation, I didn't want to stop tracking because if you're lost, you definitely don't want to stop tracking because you want people to see where you're at, especially if you shared the map share link with them. Or even for yourself, if you're still tracking, you'll see a detailed track of where you've been. So don't stop tracking. But in that case, I stopped navigation, and then it gave me the option of TracBack. So I was able to track back to my start, but then it showed the tracking points too. It showed me tracking out the path where I went, and it showed coming back. So that's really the difference. The bottom line, first of all, is test it yourself, do your own research, confirm what I'm saying. Don't just take my advice for it. But what I have seen is that the back to start will show up when you're just tracking. And TracBack will show up if you never tracked or if you navigated. That's really the difference. And so say if it's, let's just keep it more simple. If you are tracking, you're going to see back to start. If you're navigating, you're going to see TracBack. Now I could get a little more detailed with this and say, well, you might be able to see both options. I don't want to get into that and confuse anybody, but that's what I have seen. Just keep it simple. TracBack for navigation, back to start if you're tracking. That's what I have seen, and that's what Garmin also confirmed. If you have any questions, thoughts, advice, or you want to correct something I've said, please leave a comment below. And I'm having to redo my intro to the video this morning because somehow my sound went off, but I'll have some images up on the screen of this. But I was out at the Lincoln Mountain Open Space Trail just on the north side of Monument, Colorado. And the video that I'm doing or just finished was how to create a course with the Mini 2 on the, just really using the Explorer app and navigating after that and then tracking back. And it was super simple. All I really did was I got on my phone here on the Explorer app and I went in and I was at the right location, of course, because that's where it just shows up. And then I hit the plus icon at the top left, and then I hit create course. And then all I did was I placed a point at the beginning of the trail, and then I placed another point at the location where I believed I was going to do my recording, my video recording. So once that happened, then I hit save. And after you hit save, now you can go in and you can change the icon if you want. But I went in and I renamed the course. And then I renamed it like Lincoln Mountain Trail. So then once I had done that, then I just hit go. Now it did ask me after that if I was going to use my Garmin inReach Mini 2 or my Garmin Fenix 7X watch. And then I picked the Garmin inReach Mini 2. It asked me if I wanted to share with MapShare. It automatically started tracking. And then you can see that, I mean, it was a gorgeous morning. The sun was rising. And I'll have some videos and some photos up of the hike on up there. But then it just tracked perfectly. The trail in front of me was magenta or a red color. And then behind me, it was cyan or a blue color. And it just followed it right to where I did the video. And I'll tell you what, it was a beautiful morning. I was looking at Pikes Peak by Colorado Springs to where I was from. I was located was to the southwest. I was basically north and northeast of Colorado Springs. And it was just a beautiful morning. So I hope you enjoy some of the video and the photos from this hike. And so now I'm going to get to where the sound does work when I was up on top of Lincoln Mountain and overlooking Monument, Colorado Springs with Pikes Peak in the background. Here's the first glimpse of Pikes Peak. All right, so this is a pretty easy hike, and maybe it was a mile and a half or so, but I just wanted to show you how simple it is to create a route or a course specifically with the Mini 2 and the Explorer app. The wind's starting to kick up here a little bit, but it is Colorado, and that happens once in a while. But you can create that course with the Explorer app with I just touched the point at the beginning of the trail, and then up here where I believed I was going to do the video, which I was pretty close. And then I hit go to start navigating, and then it asked me if I wanted to send a map share link, so it's automatically, when I do that, then starts to track. So my family and friends can see where I'm at. And then after that, it shows, you know, the magenta course in front of me and the cyan behind me, exactly where I'm going. This gave me an off-course alert a few times when I was doing some TracBacks, but it's great because if you haven't seen this before, and I'll put a few images up on the screen, on the Mini 2 itself, it'll show off-course and on-course depending on how you're doing with your navigation. So I really like that. So I'm at the end of my course here now, and I'm going to show you how to track back. Super simple. So I'm going to go back into the Explorer app, and then, so it's a good thing I'm doing this test up here because I'm looking to track back on the Explorer app and I don't see how to do it. If you know how to do it, please leave a comment below, or if you have other ways you use the Mini 2 and Explorer app, let me know, because again, I'm always learning and wanting to help everybody else to learn also. But in this particular case, I want to track back. So now I would actually have to use my Mini 2 instead of the Explorer app. But then I just go in here, then I can go in here down to, where am I going to go? Navigation. I'm going to go down to, well, it says stop tracking. I don't want to stop tracking. I want to navigate. So if I hit navigate, then it says Waypoints and TracBack. All right, so I'm going to hit TracBack. It says it's loading course. And now it's, let's see what's going on here. Now it says it's there. I'll tell you what, you got to be careful with this because right now it's showing my track. It's showing a line 5 miles away, but that's where I started this morning at my house. Actually, I'm not even that close to my house, so I'm not sure what that line is. So honestly, there's a little issue here. I got to call Garmin about this. I just want to let you know that, you know, when you get a device like this, you need to test it. And I've tested it a lot, this Mini 2 a lot of times. But in this particular case, it's showing, it still shows that point about 5 miles away, but it's going to track back to my beginning. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit go. Now when I hit go and do the track back, now it's loading course. Now what's going to happen is it's showing here on my screen. It's showing the points that I came in on. So even though it was showing 5 miles away over there, it's showing, and this is what I really like about the Mini 2, it shows all the little points, because I have my activity detail on high on the Mini 2. It shows in great detail the exact way I came in. So I'm going to go track back, and I'll have screenshots of all this as I track back to the trailhead, and you'll see it all. You're going to see on the Explorer app and on the Mini 2. Again, you know, as simple as this really is to use, there are things that show up once in a while. So if you go use your Mini 2 very often, or maybe the 67i, you're going to see some things that maybe show up sometimes, like a track or an activity that shows up. So just make sure you clear those. And in my case, I'm out here testing all the time. So I need to go call Garmin about clearing a few tracks that I can't seem to get rid of. But anyway, that'll be for another video someday when I do get those cleared. All right, so again, you're going to see these tracks as I go back, and it's about 1.7 miles as I go back, and you're going to see these on the screen as I'm talking, because I'm going to wrap this video up here. So thanks for joining me. It's a beautiful day. Some clouds trying to come out here to cover Pikes Peak. Not sure exactly what's going to happen, but it's gorgeous. I mean, started the hike around 6 o'clock and it's almost 7 right now. But there's ranch land out here. There's some homes farther off. The Black Forest is right over here, actually that way, southeast. And it's just gorgeous. Larkspur's that way, the Front Range. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous area. And I love getting in deeper into the mountains and the Rocky Mountains, but living out here between Colorado Springs and Denver, it's just beautiful. There's so many open space trails, different trails, and things to do here, and I really love it. And it's a great place to show you how to use these satellite communicators. If you have any questions, comments, advice, or criticisms, also, I'll take all of it. So, leave that comment below. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you like and have seen how easy it is to create that course on the Explorer app, navigate, and then track back. However, remember, I had to go to my Mini 2 to do the track back instead of the Explorer app, but that's why you get out and test. Somebody was asking me about how you create a course or a route on the Explore.Garmin site on the map page, and they were having trouble with it showing up on their Mini 2. So, I've done this a lot in my past, but I wanted to go back and I tested it here, and I checked it out, how you create a course, how it shows up on your Mini 2, and then another way of going into the Explorer app. So the first thing I did is I went through and I went up to 11 Mile Reservoir here in Colorado near Lake George. And I've been out there recently fishing, and there's a place that I wanted to go. I have been, but it's an area that I have to hike into a little bit, maybe a half mile. And so I laid a course out, or actually it's a route. I'm not sure how to lay a course out on the Explore.Garmin homepage, but I laid a route out. When you select at the top, there's a flag icon. That'd be for like a waypoint. And then right next to it on the right is something, I don't remember the icon, but I'll have a circle around it on this image, and you click it, and then you can then select points to define your route. So I did that, and I defined the route to the point where I want to fish, and there's a whole area that I want to fish in there. But I did that, and there was a message that comes up, and it says you have to sync it in order for it to show up on your Mini 2. I didn't sync it. Here's what I did. Not the way, some people might do it. And there's one way to do it, and I think if you go to Garmin Express, maybe then you could update things there and sync there, but I don't do it that way. Well, I created the course, I saved it, I actually changed the name of the course, because you put the course in first by points, and then you can change the name. And then after that, or even before that, you can change the color, and I changed it from red to cyan. So once I had that course created in the Explore.Garmin webpage on my computer, then all I did is I went to my Explorer app on my phone. Right there at the top, there's the Explorer app. So in the Explorer app, you can go to Devices. And under Devices, it says the inReach Mini 2. Right there is where you sync. Now, mine, because I have the Garmin Fenix watch, it was syncing to the watch first, and then I synced to my Mini 2. So when it syncs, and it finally syncs, it'll then you can go to the map, and then your course will show up. Now, there's two things I want to point out here before I tell you about the other way to do this. It was kind of like it was stuck. It wasn't showing me what I wanted, or it wasn't syncing. And I don't know if this is an issue with the Garmin or with the Messenger app and the Explorer app, but I switched over to the Messenger app real quick, and it had my 67i on there. And I don't know, sometimes I think that kind of confuses things a little bit. So I made the Messenger app forget my GPS map 67i. Then I said pair with another device, and it paired with my Mini 2. So now I checked, and my Explorer app is paired with my Mini 2, and it's also paired with the Messenger app. So both the Explorer app and the Messenger app are now paired with the Mini 2. Then I went in and I looked, and behold, there's the course. Or in that case, it was the route. There's a difference between course and route. I much prefer to create courses than routes. So there it was. It was created. There was my route. I could see exactly where I was, because you can sync your route or courses on your map on the Garmin.Explore page or the Explore.Garmin page. And you can sync one way, I think, which is through the Garmin Express software, or you can sync through the Explorer app. That's what I do. Don't overcomplicate this. Just download the Explorer app. Sync it that way. That's the first way. It works. Now, you may have some issues, and if you ever have issues, and this is what the person who was asking me the question, they actually ended up contacting Garmin, and they had another question, and Garmin helped them resolve it. So if you ever have any issues, you can ask me, but man, call Garmin. They are very good at responding. They're very helpful. Now, the other way to create a course or a route, and the way I prefer, in my opinion, forget the Explore.Garmin webpage. I mean, yes, it's good because you can change between devices, you can change your subscription, you do have the map page, you can delete old tracks and old activities. So, you know, I don't say ignore it or forget it for a lot of reasons, but if you want to create a course or a route, forget it. Go to the Explorer app. It's so much easier. So the second way I did this, I went into the Explorer app. I went to a different area around 11 Mile Lake. So it's in between 11 Mile Reservoir and Spinney Reservoir, and that's what they call the Dream Stream. So at the parking lot, I just placed points around the river. You know, I don't know, maybe it was 1/8 of a mile, just to show that I could do it. And I placed these points, and then I saved it, and I think I saved it as 11 Mile Dream Stream, something like that, and you'll see the images on the screen. And I didn't navigate by it, but I saved it with that name, and I got out. Again, here's what happened, what you always need to do. When you create something, make sure you've synced with your Mini 2, or whether it's a 67i, whatever it is, because when I went over to my Mini 2 and I looked at it, it wasn't there. And so I went into the Explorer app, I went to devices, and I synced it. I made sure it was synced. And again, it was syncing with my watch right here first. Now you can skip, it'll say skip, but I let it sync with my watch, and it took maybe a minute to sync with the watch. And then it was done, and I hit sync for the Mini 2, and it took another minute to sync with the Mini 2. And then I went back over and I looked at my map, and there was the second route. It just showed up. You just have to sync. However you do this, you could go on the Explore.Garmin map page and do it that way. You still have to sync, and there's a couple ways to sync. I've already mentioned those. Or you can just take your phone, create the course, it's there, make sure you've synced, make sure the information is up to date, and you'll see it on your Mini 2. Then, as this person was saying, it's really rainy where they're at. Now, they didn't tell me where they're at, but they don't want to bring out their phone and look at their phone because the weather's going to be bad, and when there's a lot of dust and rain and wind and mud, you don't want to pull your phone out if you can all help it, because the Garmin products, and specifically I'm talking about the 67i and the Mini 2, they have a military spec rating for dust, wind, not wind, but it's dust, waterproof, shock and all that. So if you're out and you're in a rugged climate with tough weather, you want to be looking at your device, not your phone. I would have my device in some type of protective covering or case, maybe even just a plain plastic bag, but have that put away and just use your device. So I was able to look at my device, my Mini 2, I clicked on it, and there they were. I had both courses or routes that showed up, and I clicked on them to navigate. I didn't actually navigate, but it showed the course, and it's all there. So that's really the basics of this here is when you create a course, either on the Explore.Garmin webpage or the Explore app, you just make sure it's synced. Just do that first. Now, a few times in the past, things didn't really show up, so I powered off my phone. In this case, I didn't power off my phone. I powered off my Mini 2, turned it back on. That wasn't the problem because it still showed, I created 3 courses. It showed the second course, or the first course I created, but as soon as I synced it, I realized that the sync wasn't finished. As soon as I synced it, it showed up. I'm just telling you, it's really simple. And if you're having a problem, you can contact me, but contact Garmin. They'll walk you through it. And the main thing is to make sure you're synced. And if you're having more problems besides that, You can always, reset your device back to the default settings that comes from the factory, or just make sure or turn it off to reboot it. That's always one thing that fixes what 95% of all computer problems or phone problems is to reboot. That takes care of it. So I just wanted to walk you through this because, again, I've had this problem before. This person was having this problem today, and I haven't heard back from them, but I did tell them, I showed them, well, I didn't show them, but I told them how you create courses on the computer or on your Explorer app and make sure it's synced and it shows up. It showed up for me. If you're still having a problem, or if this person is having a problem, then it could be something else. I mean, potentially it's something with the device, whatever. Then you really need to talk to Garmin if it's not showing up, because it shows up really easily when you sync. How you download worldwide maps on your Mini 2, or maybe it's not on your Mini 2, maybe it's on the Explorer app. The Mini 2, you cannot see a map on this device. You can see a course, you can see a route, you can see your tracks, you can see waypoints, you can see quite a few things, and you get notifications on the device, but you cannot see a map. So if you want to see a worldwide map, you need to use the Garmin Explorer app. And what you have to do is you have to sync your Mini 2 to your smartphone. And then you have to download the Garmin Explorer app. And then you have to make sure that the app sees your phone and it's synced. Once it's synced, then you can go and you can see anywhere in the world. You can see topo maps, you can see satellite imagery with that Explorer app. It's really that simple. I know if you're on a hard outdoor adventure, you may not want to use your phone, but if you want to see maps anywhere in the world, then you have to use the Explorer app with the Mini 2. I just wanted to tell you the difference between the 67i and the Mini 2. This is a standalone device. You can sync it also with the Explorer app, and then also with the Garmin Messenger app. It's easier to type messages when you're synced and using your phone, and it's easier to then see with the bigger screen the map, your course, creating a course on or route on the Explorer app, or seeing the weather. It's much more convenient to use your phone, but you may not want to. But if you're using the Mini 2 and you want to see a map, then you have to use the Explorer app. Well, that's all there is to it. I'd like to know from you if you have any advice or tips when you used your Mini 2 and also looking at maps worldwide. Somebody the other day was, they were giving me some advice on log interval tracking and activity recording, or how you see your tracks that are being laid down. So I want to go over that a little bit with you today to clear some things up, because I've interchanged some terminology in past videos, so let's get this straight today. The log interval is something that you set, and you can set it between 2 minutes and maybe 2 hours or so, and I'll have that information up on the screen, but let me grab that right now. It's not a log interval. I have seen log interval before, but on the Mini 2 it says send interval, and it goes from 2 minutes to 4 hours. Now, I don't believe that 2 minutes shows up for you unless you have the Expedition subscription plan. Without that, I think it's either 5 or 10 minutes. But that log or send interval is really for people who are watching you. So if you go onto your map share page and you send emails to people, or you could share with Facebook and Instagram or Twitter, and if you go on there and you share your location, and I would also say, I would recommend, if it's family and friends, make sure they can message you, because that's one of the only ways to initiate a message with a Garmin inReach user. But that log or send interval is for them to see how many times you lay down your tracks, the details of where you're at. So when I'm out on a short hike, sometimes I'll have it on 2 minutes, just because I want more information to show up on the screen if I want to show you my map share page from the link. But if I'm going out on a week-long trip, like I'm going to be out here in about 3 weeks, I'm going to set my log interval to about an hour or 2 hours. And I'll make sure my family and friends who I'm sharing it with they know how to get to that link, and they know how to get around and see me on the map, and also be able to message me if they want to. All right, that's the log or send interval. The other thing is the activity recording, and there's standard and there's high detail. And it comes on standard, and that's always been plenty for me to be able to get back. But I set mine on high detail because I am, one, videoing, I want to show you more information, and I like to see more detail about how I've come in on my hike. And that it doesn't bother me that it takes up a bit more of the battery, and it puts more tracks down because I have the Expedition subscription plan, so I have unlimited tracks, unlimited messages. So I don't care about how many tracks it puts down. But that's what the activity recording does. When I've hiked in here, it showed all these little dots on the way in. That's the activity recording, and mine's on high detail. The last thing I want to bring up real quick is tracking. Now tracking they're all kind of related here, but tracking is a bit different. It's not the log interval. That's something you set so that people can see where you're at. But the tracking, when it says start tracking or it says tracking, that is one, you have to hit that in order for people who have the MapShare link to see where you're at. If you don't start tracking, then they're not going to see you. So it's important to do that. Now, if I'm on a long trip and I'm going to be out multiple days and I don't want to remember to have to start tracking every day when I wake up, I'll have it on auto tracking. So I'll turn it off at night. And then when I turn it on in the morning, it's automatically tracking. So if I forget, it doesn't matter because people will still be able to see where I'm at. The other thing about the tracking is you will not see the high detail or standard detail on the activity recording unless you start tracking. If you just start walking without hitting tracking, it's not going to record that activity on standard or high detail. It'll show where you're at. You'll still see your triangle on the screen and on the Explorer app, but you're not going to get that high detail or whatever you set it to, standard or high. So I just want to recommend, always set tracking when you take off on your adventure. Now, if you're trying to save money and you're on a safety plan or recreation plan, you probably you don't want to do it. But that's where if you do want to have tracking and you're going to be on a longer adventure, then upgrade to the Expedition subscription plan for that month. Then go back to the other plan or suspend your account if you're not on annual. So you're not being charged for those months you're not using it, or you don't need all those tracks. All right, I hope that helps. If you have any questions or if I've said anything incorrect, please leave a comment below. I am out here all the time testing these, and I find that I always have something new to learn. This time I'm going to look at the weather, including marine weather. Well, first of all, let's look on the phone itself. Now, in this case, because I'm synced to the Messenger app also, I could go do weather from the Explorer app, but when I do messages from the Explorer app, it sends me right over to the Messenger app. But we're going to try that. Let's go to weather. Where's weather at? I think it's under devices. Yep, and under devices, you can look on my Mini 2 and it says weather on the left side. There's weather, tracking, and S.O.S. So let's hit weather. Now it says update forecast, my location, and well, let's go ahead and just do that. I'm going to hit update. Now here's where it says basic. On this page it says basic type, and then it says basic, extended, marine basic, and marine extended. So the first one let's go to extended, and then let's get forecast. Now it's sending the request and it's waiting for the response. Okay, I already got it. Now I want to remind you that if you hit extended on the forecast, it's going to cost you $1. Now I'm not going to run through everything here, but it gives you, not hour by hour, but every 2 hours. All right, so that was the extended forecast. Let's go back out of here. So I want to do another weather forecast here. So I'm going to add a location and I'm going to use the map. Now in this case, I want a marine weather forecast. So I got to go out. I'm going to go down to the Gulf of Mexico, because you got to be offshore to get a marine weather forecast, I believe is what I read. And if I'm wrong, please leave a message or a comment in the description below. So I'm going to put a point way out in the Gulf of Mexico, and I'm going to hit add. And it wants a weather location, and I'm just going to say Gulf of Mexico. And then of course I'll hit OK. Now it shows my location and the Gulf of Mexico. I'm hitting on the Gulf of Mexico. Now here it said update forecast, and I'm going to click on the forecast type, and I'm going to go down to Marine Plus Extended, and now I'm going to hit Get Forecast. So now it's sending the request and waiting for the response. I have never done a marine weather before, so let's just see what it says. I mean, honestly, it looks exactly the same. It's every 2 hours, and if I click on, well, see, it says marine at the top. Oh, that's great. At the top it said land, and then I could click over to marine. All right, so it says 12 knots, shows it's windy. Yeah, it does look a bit different. It shows the wave current is, I guess, not sure. I haven't never done this before. Oh, it gives the information there. I see. So at 12 today, it's going to be 13 knots. The winds are gusting to 13. Northeast waves, northeast 4 foot 6 seconds, every 6 seconds, I guess. Visibility 12.4 miles, and then it goes out in every 2 hours. And it says data is provided by OCENS. All right, it's pretty interesting. Never done that before. Now what I want to do real quick is I want to see how it looks when I do it on the Mini 2. All right, so I'm going to hit OK. You don't get to the weather by the OK button to go through the menu. And this is where I don't know if I've ever done weather from this before. You hit the down arrow. I guess you can do the up arrow too. So if I hit that, either way, I get to weather. Okay, I realized I needed to come back out here and use my Mini 2 a little bit more here at home with the weather. Instead of hitting OK to get into the menu to go to the weather, you arrow down on this button here, or you could arrow up, either way, and then you arrow down to weather, and there's navigation, there's weather, and then on weather, then you go in and there's extended forecast and marine forecast. So then I went into marine forecast. Now it shows the marine forecast I already have, but when I went and asked for a new an updated forecast or a marine weather, it was at my location and it wouldn't take it. It wouldn't give me the forecast, because when you're doing marine weather, you got to be way out in the middle of a large body of water. But fortunately, before I had done this on my smartphone, I had put the Gulf of Mexico, a location down there for the weather. So I was able to actually pick it, and instead of my location, it also came up with the Gulf of Mexico. So when I picked that, now I can look at different things here. There's different days, and you pick on it, click on that day, then it comes up with, let's see, it says wind 13 miles an hour, wind gust 12, northeast, waves, northeast 5 every 5 seconds. It says 5 seconds. I'm assuming that's every 5 seconds. Wave height is 3 feet. Visible current, it has nothing, and then visibility is 15 miles. So just to let you know, I mean, I don't use the marine weather because I never, well, maybe someday I'll be out traveling in the ocean somewhere or a large body of water. But I don't go out there a lot at all now, so I don't use the marine weather. But I just want to let you know you can get to it both on your smartphone and on your Mini 2. Now, I would just be careful on the Mini 2. This is one thing I haven't tested, is if you're just using the Mini 2 and you don't have the map on your smartphone, can you pick a location out in the body of water with the Mini 2? I don't know the answer to that. I'll test it and I'll come back and do another video on it if I need to, but right now I don't know. So if you have any advice or comments and you know the answer to that, please leave a comment below. So I hope you liked this video, seeing the weather both on land and marine, and with the phone and with the Mini 2. And again, if you have any comments, questions at all, please leave a comment below. And thanks for joining me here on Hiking Emergency Beacon. Please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos. And if you'd like to support Hiking Emergency Beacon, there is a link in the description below. Well, thanks for joining me here in Colorado, and I'll see you in the next video.